Did I really just go live right now? Cool. Let's do it. Here's the talk. I was listening to an earlier lecture. Not a lecture, I guess. It was a talk that I gave. An inspiration vasodilation. And I wanted to continue that. And sorry if you can't see my stupid face, but this is comfortable for me, so this is what you get. So if I breathe, it allows me to speak. As let's see, let's use not Ellen Watts here. Let's use Terence McKenna. As Terence McKenna said, the world is made of words, and if you know how to use the sword of the tongue, the words and the world will become as you wish it to be. That's my version of what he said. So, if you are very subtle in energy, you can feel someone's heart and the energy that is within it. So therefore, you don't have to know what they're saying to know what they're saying and how they're saying it or what exactly the words are, because there's something beneath that. There's something underneath that. But for the majority of the world, the reason people listen and respond and correspond with the ideas that are just these mass-produced ideas, these mass-produced uh, states of consciousness, states of whatever needs to be, whatever the next thing is that mm, whatever the status quo needs to be next. Whatever that needs to be will be, as long as someone says the right words. There doesn't have to be a heart behind it, because most people don't have a heart and they don't have a soul. You grow a heart and then you grow a soul. Your spirit's already there, but that spirit grows, and spirit is electrical magnetical force, which grows your heart, which is electrical magnetic. What your brain is, but as they say, the heart is 100 times more powerful than the mind is. This is true. But what causes the brain and the heart to function? The lungs, the breath, the pranayama. For me to speak, I don't need to have a heart and I don't need to have a mind. How can you prove this? Go type something into your computer. It has no heart, it has no mind, and it will repeat something back to you. Anything that you require. Nothing there. No heart, no mind. Just a bunch of electrical impulses. Just as the brain is, just as the heart is. The lungs allow you to speak forth, or say something, or be silent. There's power in both of them. There's power in not using your voice, and there's power in using your voice. But your voice does not come from your heart. Your voice comes from, oh, there it is. Your heart could be beating all day. You know how many hours your heart beats the entire time you're living, and it doesn't say anything, just kind of sits there. But if you stop breathing, your heart would start pounding really fast and go, oh, why aren't the lungs breathing? Why? What's going on here? That's what would happen. So the lungs empower the heart and empower the voice. So people should take more heed, and not what their heart says, but can they breathe properly? And as soon as you can breathe properly, then maybe your heart will work right. You need the oxygen to go into your bloodstream, to go into the rest of your system, to make sure your heart still works. Your heart is a secondary system. It's Venus. The heart is Venus. It's called the Venus flytrap. It's like you're... No one here, like, speak from your heart. You know, these people, they do that. Speak from your heart. No, no one knows what their heart is because they don't even know how to breathe. They don't even know what they're eating. How can you can't, if you ain't eating right, if you can't eat right and you don't know how to, hold on. There it is. You don't know what you're consuming or even know how, well, here, the more important part, let me get to this more important part here. Digestion of what you're consuming. If you consume something, it could be anything. You could consume anything if you know how to digest it. Remember when you didn't, the first time you had an alcoholic beverage? Do you remember the first time that you ate some pot brownies? Do you remember any time that you consumed something that you're not familiar with and you didn't know how to digest it? Digestion, so isn't digestion more important than what your heart might speak? Because how could it speak? Because you haven't digested it. And the digestion comes through breathing, because that breath is bringing in the oxygen, which will oxygenate your system, which will also divide up food. Like if you have metal and you put water on it, say you have an iron ore, you have an iron ore. See, I wasn't saying iron ore, I was saying iron ore. You have an iron based body and you breathe something in, it will become rust. But that's not a bad thing. You're just if you know how to breathe, you can turn that into what your body needs to dispose of, and use the energy that comes off of that to speak in a different way. That is the how do you think a battery works? Whenever has anybody used a remote control to the point that the battery didn't function anymore, and then used it to the point where you took off the back of the remote control and you're seeing there was like a bunch of rust around the battery, like on the two, like you had the positive and negative. What happened there? It rust. Was it an acid or alkaline battery? Well, most time it's an alkaline battery, but depends if it's being charged, if it's a car, and there's a lot going on there. But the point here is that the energy of oxygen being the fuel for the fire creates energy that then burns things off of systems that aren't supposed to be there. The heart of the battery or the energy system it's not the thing. I mean, it holds charge, but it isn't it's not the generator of charge. The generative factor isn't the heart. that's Venusian. That's the phi-based system. Phi. Like right now, there's 5 people in the room. Crazy, right? Oh, so welcome. I'll start the show in a second. That was just me rambling on about nonsense, obviously. Is anybody in here? Is anybody speaking? What's going on? What should we do next? You want to talk about electricity, lighting, and how the body is... the system of the body? I've done this so many times. I guess doing it again wouldn't be a harm to anyone. Is anyone here? Hello, welcome. Is anyone out there? Hey. Big up yourself, rude ones. Well, apparently there's 5 people in here, but I see nothing. So, let's see. Where can I go from? electricity, magnetism, rust, oxygen, movement. Let's get into patterns, patterning. Yeah, this is a good one. Man, this is I might have to put this one in private. This is too good. Hold on, I have to. Let me take a breath here to get this right for you guys. Patterning. So a child, if you have a baby, right? What do? You pat it on the back. You pat it. There's a certain like rhythm, a rhythmic structure, and that rhythmic structure will cause a patterning. Those patternings, and pit pat patters, like raindrops, raindrops drop top, all that shit. You put those raindrops onto something, and there's a certain, you might not be able to hear it because all rain might sound the same to you, but to a child, you pat on the back. Some others want to get it over with real quick, and they really fast, like get rid of the burp or blah blah blah. Some are like slow, and some are like don't do it at all. Those patterns are one of the initial patterns for the way that the brain works for a child. And those patterns end up become and they develop into systematic orders or disorders of the consciousness of a child that becomes then, hold on, wait, oh, this is so good. Oh, fuck. Does anybody like sneezing as much as I do? It's one of the most delicious, wonderful, orgasmic things ever. I think if I ever marry someone, and it wouldn't be a someone, it would probably be like it'd be an inanimate object. It'd be pepper. I don't mean pepper like Pippi Longstockings or peppercorn. I mean like a full on like ground black pepper, so I could just sneeze. That's so funny, sneezing. Such an orgasmic thing, right? So that patterning, or that padding, or I mean, it's also called a padding, padding. So if you ever, when you were a child or even adult, went and did, oh, I don't know, how many classes could you take that there was pads? So you didn't, so like the first time you did a backflip, you didn't, crush your skull. it's a patterning. It's a padding. So those paddings and those patternings are the same thing. Do you remember? Here, I'm trying to use like 6 different concepts here. When you went to say a family event and you had or maybe it was your house. I don't know. And there was one of those coffee tables, and you're a couple years old. You're running around, and no one's paying attention, and you trip and fall, and you crack your skull open on the side of the fucking table because there was no padding there. And now what we have is, because that happened a couple times, because don't run, don't walk, don't run, walk. Kids learn a lesson to not do that because they cracked that open. All right. And now what we see is every cupboard door is locked shut tight, and every coffee table has a little buffer zone on the side, so nobody fucking bangs their head open. What is that? Why does that occur? It's a buffer zone. It's a padding. It's a patterning to get you to follow the rules. Don't do that or else. Anyways, since no one's saying anything and this is turning into a ridiculous dialogue that no one's going to be able to understand. Well, I mean, hopefully some of you understand the simplicity of the complexity, which is generally the way that you teach people that are very intelligent, that think everything is complex. You give them simple things, and people that are very simpletons, simple-minded people, you give them complex things. It's so that you can unify the way that people talk, people that communicate. Like, so what you would consider dumb or smart, like those people have to like come to that middle ground of going, okay, well, the dumb person that's actually smart because they made the system very simple. The person that was so smart made the system so complex for no reason, except for they thought if they made a couple more, you know, laws and juxtapositions into the framework of how reality functions, that it would serve everyone better. Where the other, the dum dum was like, hey, we just do it this way. Yeah, see, so in the middle there's some common common ground of how to uh, function within reality. Anyway, so since no one's talking here, I'm gonna get the fuck out of here. That's what I had to say. This is what you get. I hope you enjoyed, and have a beautiful, glorious evening. Do silly things, talk shit, and it is not fuck you Friday yet. I'm gonna call this. Is it Tuesday? Is it? Is it November? Is it Thanksgiving? Who knows? Who knows? That was my best. My best Canadian. Who knows? Is that how they do it? Who knows? There you go. Anyways, I'm done. I'm out of here. Peace. Bye, guys.